I think the polite way of saying it would be polishing an excrescence in this bill. Is that broadly your view, and that actually we should just get on with common hold eventually?
No, I mean, that's absolutely not my view. I mean, leasehold, whatever happens with common hold, leasehold is going to be with us for a long time.
That's me in the yellow jacket. Friends have mocked my obvious distress, but after waiting for over 20 years for leasehold to go, that was a moment of utter disbelief and despair. I was so angry, I agreed for the first time to appear in a campaign video. I have ground rent of £1,500 a year. In 4 years' time, it will double to £3,000. Now, what do I get for that? Certainly not repairs, which I'm paying also a service charge for. That's been here for 6 months or so, dripping into this disgusting bucket. Okay, so here we are back in the same corridor a couple of weeks later, and 48 hours after my mad rant went live, this got fixed. This is now dry. They've at least stopped the leak, although they have not painted the ceiling. The nasty bucket that was down here, that's gone. They haven't vacuumed the floor. We've still got a great big smear on the carpet. But protest clearly works. Things get done. So I thought, I had an idea. Why don't we start a new organisation? The other side have got their Pensioners for Ground Rent Association. So we will have Pensioners Against Leasehold. Because we, the pensioners, my generation, the boomers, have a huge number of dogs in this fight. Like so many pensioners, I sold a much-loved family home filled with memories when my child grew up. And like so many other pensioners, when he became old enough to have a home of his own, I helped him as far as I could to buy. So I really don't want to moan. I am pretty well off. I've had a good life. There are plenty in far worse situations in leasehold than me. But my service charges for a block with no gym, no garden, no swimming pool, no nothing, not even common spaces, is £26,000 a year. So I'm motoring through my life savings. If I don't die soon, my son will have nothing left to inherit. This is just nonsense, right? And all we're told is, if you have a problem, go to court, spend more money, take on more stress. I mean, nobody in my family has ever had a problem with high blood pressure, but just take a look at this. This is my medicine drawer. I've got every damn thing here. I've got blood pressure tablets, blood thinning tablets, statins, stomach liners, dispersible aspirin, antibiotics for God knows what. And I've had 2 brain events in the last 3 years. This stress, I can't wait while the government spend over another 20 years tinkering about trying to abolish leasehold. I need it done now, and so does everybody of my age.
A poll conducted by Opinion this month asked, would you support or oppose removing ground rent charges on leases granted before 30th of June 2022? 65% of over 65s said they wanted to see existing ground rents scrapped. There was more support for the move from this age group than from any other. The poll also asked, would you support or oppose abolishing the leasehold system of home ownership? Here again, pensioners, at 62%, were the keenest to see leasehold abolished altogether.
I'm 90 years of age and I'm about to buy a house, and it's only a 40-year lease. I've got to live there 2 years before I can extend the lease. I think that's really not fair. That's taking advantage.
It's incredibly frustrating because, well, to me it doesn't seem fair to expect a 90-year-old to wait 2 years before they're allowed to renew a lease. Quite apart from that, in the case of the property that my mother wanted to buy, we were told that we weren't even allowed to look at the terms of the lease until she'd appointed a lawyer and had a firm offer accepted, of course, by which time, you've spent a lot of money. So we had the problem of having to tell my mother that the property she'd set her heart on, we just didn't think it was safe for her to go ahead and purchase. And that was really upsetting for her and for us, of course. And it just seems as if the whole system is wrong.
The fact that I cannot choose what I pay and how I pay it is a major issue. And if the building insurance goes up higher next year, I'm going to have to think about leaving my home.
I have lost the pension, which I could have got it better pension if when I was a scientist, no stress and better pension, I would have able to retire at the age of 60. But now, chances of retiring at the age of 60 is virtually nil. Rental is not covering. So I had to borrow last year money from my sister and my friend. I borrowed £10,000 on credit card to live my, daily routine. One of the reasons is a high service charge.
The only time that I have been becoming involved in it is with Joe now, and I'm involved in it not just because I'm his father, but we gave him some financial assistance to buy his first property, which I didn't know what the situation was going to be as far as the leasehold system is concerned. I don't think Joe did at the time. He certainly does now. But it has caused a massive amount of stress. I just think it's totally wrong.
My friends have got leases which they have to pay their ground rent, and their ground rents are going up considerably over the years. And also, of course, their leases, the lease are getting shorter as they get older, and buying a lease out is extremely difficult for them.
Naively, we just assumed that all freeholders were decent sorts of chaps and wouldn't exploit their leaseholders. In fact, the opposite has proved to be true. And in the space of 5 years, the service charges went from around 1,000 a year to probably 4,000 or 5,000 a year. It's been a huge amount of work to try and contest this. It's sort of kept me occupied. I could have been off doing, spending my spare time doing other things, instead of which I was hunched over a computer trying to analyse service charges. And it's quite stressful. I mean, there's no getting away from it. You've got a hearing coming up. You don't really know what to expect. You've never done it before. They send along a barrister who's done it many times. So it doesn't feel like a fair fight. It's not the way you want to be spending your years approaching retirement.
The immediate issues that we have as a bunch of people living in a retirement block, 61 flats, is that we have I can only call it a toxic relationship with our managing agent. It's right to manage, although it's a benefit to us, we are still finding it a struggle to engage people whose natural reaction when they started 80s and 90s is do nothing, right? They don't really understand the process. They're having to ask their daughters and sons-in-laws, etc., for guidance on this. We're providing as much facts as we can, but all I can say is it ain't easy.
Now, we older people, because we actually do get out there and vote, we have a certain amount of political power and we need to use it. So if you are a pensioner, or you're approaching retirement age, or maybe you are somebody whose parents helped you onto the housing ladder and into a leasehold flat with money that they'd saved up, then please join us. You can email us at pensioners@freeleaseholders.org.uk. Do that today. It's free to join, and we will be in touch to tell you how you can help us.